the Vice President of the United States.
I have just been looking over some of the sketches made in Vietnam for the motion picture that you're about to see. These are wonderfully strong pictures. They capture the spirit of the people of that country. Now, just take a look at this one. Throughout Vietnam, you see strong faces like this, determined and patient. The story, the hope, and the determination of these brave people of South Vietnam and what they're doing to build on their hopes has not been told as often as has the story of war in their ravaged land. But it's just as true. Here are some others. They are really building something over there. They are building the foundations of a society in which they and their children can live in peace and freedom. And they are doing this in the midst of an ugly war forced on them by aggressors who want to control them. They are doing it with their muscle and their hearts, but they're doing it at the ballot box too. In hundreds of hamlets across the land, they are demonstrating their faith, faith in themselves and in their future. They're also proving their faith in us, because we have taken our stand beside them. No one who really knows what these determined people are doing can doubt the rightness of their cause, nor can they doubt the rightness of our help. For we are making possible the conditions under which they can build their nation. Their effort to build that nation is a story that needs to be told. It is a story of men who prize freedom, and it is a story honoring men who put their lives on the line for freedom.
The story of Vietnam today is the story of war and of the men of different nations who fight that war to end the enemy's aggression. It is the story of war's effect on the people who live in this troubled land. But the untold story of this historic moment in Vietnam is one of heroic adventure. It is a revolutionary undertaking by the people of the Republic of Vietnam to transform their national life and construct out of the chaotic legacy of the past a social order that will work for the betterment of all. It is the story of a people building a nation for themselves and building it amid the holocaust of war.
A generation ago, not many Americans could have said with certainty where or what Saigon was. Today, no city in the world more urgently commands our attention. It is the capital city of a nation at war, the strangest war in which Americans have ever been involved. It is also the capital of a nation in the throes of a social revolution. And America's participation in that revolution is just as urgent as its involvement in the war. Being the capital city, Saigon is the source of South Vietnam's revolutionary effort. But you have to come out here in the countryside to see what it's all about. The Defense Department has asked me to help bring you this story of Vietnam's attempt to build itself into a nation. And to do this, I've called on some expert help. This is Lieutenant Mark Nelson, U.S. Navy. He's commander of a division of the patrol craft which prevent infiltration of enemy troops and supplies along the coast. And this is Sergeant Shelley Blunt of the Air Force. Sergeant Ken Sanders with the 3rd Marine Amphibious Force at Da Nang. And Spec 5 Dale Kemmery with the 25th Infantry Division. These fellows are stationed here, and they know the country, at least in the special way that American fighting men have come to know it. So from their own experiences and observations, they know the story, and together we're going to try to give you an informed picture of what it is that's going on over here. We're in the hamlet of Ny Ton, about 15 miles north of Saigon. It's a peaceful-looking rural community, and life goes on here much as it has for hundreds of years in this part of the world. But there's an operation going on a mile or two from here, and the peace and quiet of this little village is shattered by the sounds of war. The drones of helicopters overhead, and every once in a while this rumble of artillery. That's one thing you learn after you've been here in Vietnam for a while. The war is never very far away. These hamlets and villages are the real soul of the country. 4/5 of the people of South Vietnam live in them. And it is here, in these dusty trails through the countryside, these thatched huts and farmland and jungle, that the thrust of South Vietnam's great social revolution is directed.
In Vietnam, revolution is a double-edged word. The enemy uses it. It's what they call the aggressive war they're using against the people over here.
That's the story. And there's nothing mysterious about the kind of revolution the enemy has in mind. It's the same thing we've seen in many parts of the world ever since the communist revolution 50 years ago. Murder, assassination, terror. And over here, they've killed over 20,000 civilian leaders. That is the story of the civilian population. It is public knowledge that these people, in their fight for freedom, have lost proportionately already more troops than we lost in the whole of World War II. And yet, in spite of this, there have always been men brave enough in this country to step forward and take the leadership from those who have been killed. And it's these same brave people who have had the will and the guts to conduct their own revolution, a real revolution for the betterment of their people. At the same time, they've been fighting a war for their very survival.
What the government of Vietnam is launching is a national effort to eliminate and defeat a pattern of social misery which has plagued the people of Vietnam for generations. They intend to replace it with a society in which the needs of the people can be met. Now, they call it revolution, and it certainly is. And they call it nation building, and it's that, too.
The people over here have never had very much, and they want their share. They want the things that are important to them. That is what they mean by revolution and what it's all about. They want a better life.
They want social justice, but the guy in the rice paddy wouldn't call it that. As a matter of fact, he probably wouldn't know what those words mean. But it's the same thing. Now, he wants to be left alone. He's tired of being frightened, kicked around, and beaten up. He wants some personal dignity. And he certainly doesn't get very much of that over here.
These people want education. It's the key to the future for them.
And health is another big problem. Disease is a serious thing, and life expectancy is pretty low.
Well, the war helps that along.
It sure does, but some of these people never get to see a doctor. You ought to see the way they crowd around some of our medics. These people want dispensaries and clinics so that they can get taken care of and get their families taken care of so they can live a little longer.
Social justice, if that's what you want to call it, or simply the desire not to be beaten up, education for the children, health facilities, the hunger for land and to make the land more bountiful. These are the wants of the people. They are the objectives of Vietnam's social revolution.
Trouble is, the Viet Cong have told the people they'd give them the same thing.
Yeah, and they shoot anybody that doesn't believe them.
Well, but sometimes the people don't know who to believe. That's why the government has to make good on its promises right now. If they don't, their revolution is dead.
But we can't wait on it. We've got to get this war won. If we don't, there won't be a nation to build.
Yes, we in the South Vietnamese must win this war. The social revolution cannot be successful unless the people feel secure and safe from communist aggression.
The enemy was proud of the technique he had developed for pursuing what he called his wars of national liberation. Who could stop him? Not the Americans, or so he thought. The leaders of the North Vietnamese military forces said that the organization, composition, and training of American forces were not fit to tackle a revolutionary war. I guess they forgot 1776. Anyway, we Americans who knew something about revolution developed a revolutionary answer in the field to these cutthroats and terrorists. The myth of Viet Cong invincibility is dead. The ground, sea, and air team in Vietnam has killed it. America decided a long time ago, in principle, to take its stand in Vietnam. It laid the foundations for that decision when it recognized that aggression against the weak could never be permitted to succeed if freedom was to survive. The fighting men in Vietnam are the inheritors of that decision, and now they are its agents. Accolades in war are easy to give, but there is a general agreement that never before in its history has America put into combat a force so composed of men ready for their job. They serve the cause of freedom well. They're fighting men and not philosophers, so they don't talk much about freedom, but they know their job and they know how it figures in Vietnam's effort to build a nation.
We've got to get this war won. If we don't, there won't be any nation to build.
The final outcome of the Vietnam story will not be determined in the cities or even in the places of open conflict with the enemy, but out here in these small clusters of rice farmers and fishermen. That captain over there is Peter Dawkins. Just a few years ago, he was making All-American at West Point. But now he's up to his eyeballs in a really historic adventure. The effort of the Vietnamese government to create a nation where no real sense of nationhood has ever existed before. Well, with his help, I hope that we'll be able to show you what nation building means in thousands of hamlets across the country like this. Pete, you're on.
Well, you know, this nation building's an abstract term. And so is social revolution, which is the other term the Vietnamese use for what they're trying to do. But what these terms really boil down to, essentially, is an effort to bring a better way of life to the millions of Vietnamese that live in these villages and hamlets across the country.
This is a staggering undertaking, but one of vital importance. The peasant of Vietnam is well overdue his claim to a better shake.
The unusual thing is that the government is trying to give the peasant that better shake even while the war is going on. When you look at that fact closely, you discover something truly unique about this war. Improving the lives of these people is not just a humanitarian idea. It's a military necessity. And every American who comes over here to fight soon becomes aware of this.
Tomorrow about midnight, you'll surround the village of Tan Phu Can and completely seal it off. If you encounter any VC, you'll take your normal combat action. After you seal off this village, it's going to be a little different, however. At first light,
We're going to take the government of Vietnam to Tan Phu Can. There's going to be a large group of people going into this village that you've surrounded. And it's going to be their job to show them that the government of Vietnam is the best choice. And your job is just as important in that you've got to convince these people that you as soldiers are on their side. You're going to gain their confidence by working with them to build a little better life.
Basic kindness and generosity are not unknown in the tradition of the American fighting man overseas, but no one ever expected that they would become military weapons as well. But that's the kind of a war this is.
Non-military assistance is also a major part of America's contribution to Vietnam's struggle, and has been from the beginning.
My name is Mike Rolla. I'm with the United States Agency for International Development here in Vietnam. I've been here about 3 years now, working in the province of Gia Dinh. My work has involved almost everything that is non-military, from the building of schools, maternity dispensaries, roads and bridges. Basically what we've been trying to do, though, is work with the people and help them as much as they can to realize their aims and their wishes. Basically, what we're trying to do is help the government of Vietnam respond to these needs and these wishes, helping the government respond to the needs of the people.
The U.S. is not alone either in the contributions it is making. This is one of a number of social centers used also as schools during the day, which the West Germans have set up in the crowded and poor districts of Saigon. An Iranian surgical team provides badly needed hospital services in one of the districts. Such activities document the very important fact that 39 nations of the free world today are helping or have promised to help the Republic of Vietnam in one way or another.
All of this is enormously important and helpful to the common cause. But these activities can only be considered as the initial steps to help get the process started. No matter how successful our troops or our AID representatives are in winning the support of the people, in the end, that job can only be done by the Vietnamese themselves. As good friends and allies, we can help strengthen the ties of the people to their government, but only that. We can only help.
The Vietnamese know this, and they're doing something about it. As a matter of fact, what they're doing constitutes the heart and soul of their effort toward building a nation.
This is a training center at Vung Tau, a very special training center. It's for the training of what the Vietnamese call revolutionary development cadres. The men who come here, 5,000 of them at a time, 20,000 a year, literally hold the hopes for Vietnam's social revolution in their hands. They come here to assimilate the principles of their government's plan to revitalize the country and learn the skills and techniques with which to translate those principles into effective action.
Tôi nghĩ rồi. Vâng. You may not believe it to look at me, but I'm Captain Gene Savaggio, United States Army. This is the uniform here at Vung Tau. I'm an advisor here, but only that. You see, the Vietnamese are running the show, and it's an arduous one. About half the total training is taken up with military subjects. The job of these men will be to move into areas which American or ARVN troops have cleared, but subsequently passed on through. And their first responsibility will be to take up where the military had to leave off in providing security for the area. They are the sons of farmers and fishermen and have lived all their lives close to the soil. They don't need much instruction in how to harvest a rice crop or bring in a catch. But techniques for improving the crop and the catch are important parts of the curriculum. Someday, a village's loyalty might turn on just such instruction. They become well-schooled in the causes and progress of the war, probably as much as any national spokesman. And one fact is drilled into them constantly: the necessity of reaching the hearts and minds of the people among whom they will be working. When their training is completed at the end of 13 weeks, they are formed into cadre groups to take their revolution, the social revolution, to the countryside.
The program in which these cadre groups are involved actually begins well before they move into a village. First of all, regular forces, either ours or South Vietnamese, sweep through the area to clear it, destroy, capture, or chase out any Viet Cong or main force enemy units. Then regional forces, companies of troops employed within a province, and popular forces, platoons and squads within a district, secure the area with their patrols and small-sized operations.
Then the cadre groups move in, dressed in the black pajamas of the peasant, trained to look at the world as the peasant sees it, but also as a soldier must.
This black pajama uniform is very important. Because it is the traditional garb of the peasant, it's easier for the peasant to identify himself with the cadre groups. It complicates our problems of identification, of course, for the Viet Cong wear the same uniform. The cadres work with the people to gain their trust. This is made considerably easier by their being assigned to the districts they grew up in, among the people who know them.
They're not left entirely on their own. Military units on the periphery help to deter the enemy from coming back. But these men still carry a heavy share of the responsibility for village security.
Within this screen of security, the cadre teams begin rooting out the VC infrastructure, if one exists.
Chúng tôi đã được kế hân hạnh đến đây để tiếp
At the
xúc với
same
đồng bào.
time, the spade work of the social revolution begins, with a full explanation to the people of just what the cadres are in the village for and what they hope to accomplish.
This is not always an easy step. The overwhelming majority of the people of South Vietnam are dead opposed to everything that the enemy stands for, but their experience has made them wary. Too often they've watched the VC murder anyone who has cooperated with the government. They have to be persuaded that this won't happen again.
It's the job of the cadres to do that persuading, and also to persuade the villagers that their welfare is actually of deep concern to their emerging nation. One team starts out right away to find out what the people's particular problems are, what is needed the most to improve life in the village.
Liệu định chứ mình dân dã chỉ mình muốn làm ăn vậy thôi, muốn yên ổn mình làm ăn vậy thôi.
Once the problems have been determined, another team starts organizing the effort to solve them. This is where the people's first commitment takes hold. For what the cadres must do now is encourage and lead the villagers into tackling the projects themselves. The team will find the necessary materials and supplies to be used, often from U.S. sources. But the people have to contribute their labors and energies. As their work progresses, the cadres encourage and supervise the election of community leaders. When a village gripped with fear or mired in apathy awakens to a sense of its own importance and feels the stirrings of faith in itself and in the far-off government which is demonstrating its compassion and concern, when the people of a community begin to take their destiny in their hands, that is the transformation of social revolution. And it is precisely this which the Revolutionary Development cadres are endeavoring to bring to the villages of Vietnam.
They stay in the village for several months, sometimes a year. When their job is through, if they've done it well, they will leave behind them a community of people who now are able to believe in their future, who are determined to work for it, to share in the defense of it. One of the final missions of a cadre group is to train a self-defense force from among the able-bodied villagers, a force prepared to help meet any attack by the enemy. When this happens, the people's commitment is complete.
Việt Nam yêu
kêu gọi xương máu, Việt Nam kêu gọi thương nhau, Việt Nam đi xây đất.
Vietnam has a lot riding on these men.
We all have.
That's right. We all have.
Việt Nam quê hương đất nước sáng ngời. Việt Nam, Việt Nam, Việt Nam muôn đời.
No one can say with absolute certainty that Vietnam is going to succeed in building the nation it wants during the hardships and trials of war. But powerful ideas generate their own growth, even in the most bitter of climate. One of these is the belief in individual man's dignity and his right to determine his own course. It is this idea which animates Vietnam's spirit today. It is an idea with which we Americans are familiar. It is to honor our commitment to this idea that we take our stand, and will hold our stand in this troubled land of a worthy time that it once gave us.
Vietnam, Vietnam, Vietnam quê hương đất nước sáng ngời. Vietnam, Vietnam, Vietnam muôn đời.
There are times when only the heartbeat of a man tells us feels.
This is Rebel 6, request dust off. Dust off, over. This is Rebel 6, request dust off. Request dust off.
More than 6,000 times last month, this call was heard and answered across the jungles, mountains, and rice paddies of Vietnam.
Dust off 3-1. Dust off 3-1.
This is the story of a handful of wounded and a handful of the 150,000 men and women whose only job it is to save the lives of men, if need be, at the cost of their own. Central Vietnam, and a province believed vital for the security of Saigon. After many days of quiet, ominous sniping, our position is threatened. A patrol has been ambushed and is tied down. This is a war fought on the ground by troops brought in and out by helicopter, for we control only the land we stand upon. The front, as it has been understood in other wars, is where you are facing at the moment.
Is Dynamite 5-2 request dust off.
Dust off is a call for help. It was the call signal of the first commander of a helicopter detachment. Since he was killed in action, it has become the universal cry for an air ambulance.
Litters. The type of injury is urgent shrapnel wounds. They will identify with smoke. The area is insecure. Okay, Poot, bring the map out with you. Yankee uniform. Okay, right here. 144-073. Okay.
These are men of the 283rd Air Medical Detachment. And, as is the practice when an engagement is mounted, they are in the field as close to the action as possible. Marcelino Burgos, Specialist 5, Brooklyn, New York. Chief Warrant Officer T.C. Gibson, Jr., Philadelphia, Mississippi. Specialist 5, William Nelson, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Captain Bill Colbert, Knoxville, Tennessee. This is mission number 404. Tuned to our radio frequencies, the Viet Cong can and do imitate our procedures, ambushing our rescuers. It isn't until the helicopter is within rifle range that its crew can be certain who awaits them. And they are further disarmed. Since they exhibit the Red Cross, they may carry weapons only for the protection of their patients, not for themselves.
I want to tell them back there, Burgos, we're going to have to switch because they have mass casualties up here. And we got to get up there and get them.
Got 4 west. I got to check this out. I think I may have a unit in there now.
This is Mustang 3-3. Get off the air for approximately 02. We have a dust-off in progress. They're on this push. Out. Bobcat Bravo 5, dust-off 3-1, over.
This is Bravo 5. Roger, we can hear you now, over.
Roger, I'm above the clouds at this time. I have an APC with a panel marker on it at this time. If you could confirm that it is one of yours, will come down through a hole, over.
This is Bravo 5. We prefer to use smoke. We've got quite a few down here with markers on, over.
Roger. How much enemy contact did you have prior to our arriving, over?
We've had sporadic contact all morning, over.
Roger. What's the best direction of approach into your area, over?
This is Bravo 5. Suggest you come in from the southwest. Do not go in the area to our northeast, over.
Roger, that's about where we are at this time. Go ahead and throw a smoke now, and I'll see if I can pick it out, over.
This is Bravo 5. We'll go, over. This is Bravo 5. Have you located our smoke, over?
Yes, 3-1, negative. Bravo 5, dust off 3-1. We're coming down through a hole, so if you could keep smoke in the area until we locate it, we'd appreciate it, over. Roger, we have purple smoke. Is that affirmative?
This is Bravo 5. That's affirmative, over.
Roger, keep smoke in the LZ at all times. We'll be approaching low level, over.
This is Bravo 5. Roger, we've got you located. Go ahead and come in from the southwest now, over.
5, I understand. Second letter from top, broken back. Which one is the emergency, over? Bravo 5, roger, out.
The young mother's daughter was shot while quietly riding a bicycle with her father on a public lane in a little village in the warm sun of a beautiful day. She will be dead in an hour. Four members of this family have died this afternoon between noontime and dinner. Captain Lloyd J. Eason, ROTC, who was a pharmacist and was, before he became an executive officer, the manager of a Fairway drugstore in Woodburn, Oregon. And the work here is different.
Mustang Alpha 5, dust off 3-1, over. 5, over. Roger, it's 3-1. We should be in your location at about 02. Could you throw smoke for us now, over? Mustang Alpha 5, roger, over. This Mustang Alpha 5, we're throwing 1 now, over. Color is red, over. Roger, I am
Be on your pad in 4 minutes. We have the 2 patients on board. One has a gunshot wound in the leg, the other one has a gunshot wound in the back.
Dennis Aldrich, while performing his daily chores as a foot soldier, stepped upon a claymore mine. A metallic fragment entered his left flank. It shattered his spleen, destroyed part of his kidney, went into and is lodged in the left upper lobe of his left lung. 16 minutes later, he is here.
Blood over here. Hey, hook up that blood. Come on, let's go, Rolf. Come on, people. Come on.
He cannot be given an anesthetic and live. Brought in during the same engagement, a Viet Cong shares the operating room. The prognosis for both these young men is questionable.
Try one more time on this arm. How many curlers? See if we can bring back the curler. How many blankets? Let's go. Come on, people. Clear the line. Clear.
For some, the prognosis is no longer in question. Piteously, there are those who fall, and we cannot make them rise. Dennis Aldrich's wounds are stabilized so he can continue his journey. For those who live, this is stage 1 of several stages in the concept that if a man is hit in this unwelcomed war, it is as if he were hit on the front steps of a hospital. A hospital. Doctors, nurses, medication, all stretching in a continuous comforting bandage, 9,000 miles to his own bed. For Dust-Off 31, Mission 404 is done. 405, 406, 407, 609, 1,098 are all ahead of them for as many numbers as men can count, for as long as they are needed. In Saigon, in a remodeled and guarded apartment building, are the headquarters of the Far Eastern Joint Medical Regulating Office. It is staffed by the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. It is from here that the life of the casualty is guided to the hospital best equipped to handle his particular injury, to the doctor best prepared to heal him.
Regulating in Saigon. I've got 2 add-on and a change in destination. Aldrich, that's A-L-D-R-I-C-H. Initials, Dennis D-H. Dennis H, that's right. Wound, left back.
From the heart of the injured, through the fingers of the teletype, the world knows a soldier has been struck down. His rank, his condition, his needs are noted. And over the globe, hospitals are alerted. Aircraft are sent to bring them together. The center of this protective network is the briefing room at the Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. Under the command of General Howell M. Estes, Jr., directives go to 100 air bases in 40 countries from these daily sessions.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. There are 33 C-141 missions moving, which include 19 channel traffic, 8 special missions, 4 air evac, and 2 embassy flights. There is the air evac on time en route to McGuire, a special mission en route to Bedford, Massachusetts. The Clark to Travis air evac has been extended to Kelly to airlift an urgent burn patient to the Brooke Army Hospital Burn Center. There are also 32...
Stand by. Surgeon, how about this urgent case en route to Kelly? Is this a serious, very serious condition?
The prognosis looks quite good. He has about 35% burn of the lower extremities and part of his abdomen.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any special medical attendants aboard?
Yes, sir. We have a flight surgeon aboard to attend him.
Good. All right.
There are also 32 litter patients and 26 ambulatory on board destined for hospitals in the southwestern United States. An air evac inbound to Washington. The Clark air evac on schedule en route to Hickam. The Saigon air evac now en route to Washington is carrying 12 litter and 22 ambulatory patients. And the mission en route to Hickam has 16 litter and 24 ambulatory patients.
Stand by one. Surgeon, since we started that direct run from Saigon up over the northern route into Andrews, have we had any particular expressions from the patients as to whether any of those legs are too long for them? Is their medical condition being affected by the longer legs on that run?
No, sir, their condition is not affected, and they're overjoyed to get to their destination rapidly.
Fine. Okay.
All route wind factors in both the Atlantic and Pacific are near normal today. Scattered thunderstorm activity also throughout the Philippines, with rain showers at most of the island stations. Visibilities will be restricted to 1/2 mile in fog at Taipei. Visibilities will also be restricted to a 1/2 mile in fog in the Yokota-Tachikawa area between 1800 and 2200 Zulu today.
Weather, can you expect any abnormal degree of turbulence for that flight?
Negative, sir. All our reports indicate only light turbulence along that route.
The turbulence that concerns General Estes is often encountered by aircraft leaving Tan Son Nhut, Saigon's airport, and it is the comfort and well-being of patients like Dennis Aldrich that the General and his staff wish to assure. In the weeks since we have seen Specialist for Aldrich, he has been to several hospitals. The 3rd Surgical Hospital, the 97th Evacuation, and finally he has just left the 377th. All this for surgery to repair the considerable damage he had sustained. Yet there is more to be done. And in the policy of taking the patient to the doctor rather than the other way around, Dennis is arriving in the Clark Air Base Hospital in the Philippine Islands. Waiting for him is Dr. Lewis Patterson, the noted chest surgeon. It is his turn to examine the arrivals, check their condition, and assign them for further treatment. Every facility, every ounce and touch of kindness and skill is to be expended on their rehabilitation. There is barely a moment when they are permitted to forget this.
What's your name? Shivari. What's that? Shivari. Spell? How long ago were you shot? Last night. Last night. Last night. Feeling pretty good? Take the trip all right? Okay. You'll be going to War 12, all right? How you doing, young man? What's your name? When did you get in? What? February. February? No, when did you get injured? 5 days ago. They took your leg off right away? Took your leg off yesterday. Now, where was the artery? Did the artery this leg or the other leg?
Wait a minute, go ahead.
Your right leg didn't work. You wiggle your toes in your left foot? Let's see you do it.
Get that sheet off there, Paul.
No, the toes. That's the whole leg. Move the toes.
Come out here.
Hit you in one place. Your chest is all right. I'll sit in that.
The chest all up, or there's something on here? There's one on here.
You can't help but feel some apprehension about, are we going to be able to manage these boys? It's going to be a problem we haven't met with before. And even though we've had a plane a day now for a year or so, you just can't help but feel that here's a new challenge. Well, Dennis Aldridge received a metallic fragment wound of the left flank, and he's one of the boys that's very lucky to be alive. When he got here, our x-ray showed this retained large metallic fragment in the left upper lobe. It is our policy to remove these fragments because we know that when they have a metallic fragment of this size in their lung that they are going to get into trouble sooner or later. The injuries in this war are different than previous wars from one aspect, and that is the velocity of the missiles. The M14 rifle, for example, is much faster than the missiles of the previous wars. And this imparts an awful lot of energy as it passes through the body, killing tissues at quite some distance from the actual path of the missile. Yeah. So the very first patient that I lost of a pure chest injury came in here and within 24 hours in bad respiratory distress. His whole right lung was practically destroyed. And I did an operation on him, at which time I had to make a decision. Should I take out his whole right lung and leave him a cripple for the rest of his life? Or shall I attempt to mend the remaining lung? I chose, as turned out wrongly, to attempt to mend his right lung. He got a bad empyema and died. This type of thing just, you'll never forget that type of patient. Yet, on the other hand, this made me work all the harder and on saving lungs. And we have quite a series since then of successful primary repairs of wounded lungs. No, I guess she's just late. When you really stand back and have time to stop and think, it's just such a tremendous waste of human lives and human limbs, and so much suffering involved. My only hope is that it's worth it all.
For the sick, nights are 1 year long, and dawn a welcome friend. With a light morning breeze comes the hope that this day will be better than the last. It is 3 days since Dr. Patterson went exhausted from his operating room, having met the challenge, which in all our hospitals has resulted in returning 99% of our casualties to life. These first unaided steps are a quiet victory for all those who have held Dennis' future in their hands. Though the journey is not over for this battered boy, he is on his way. Air Force nurses Captain Dorothy Brooks and Marge Selger, specially trained to man an air hospital. It was a little later before they got home and to sleep. It's now not yet 6 a.m. Their days are not measured in hours, for they are a special variety of caretaker and are on constant call. Today's evacuation from Clark through Japan to the United States is to be theirs. 25 patients, including Dennis Aldrich, are to be prepared by the hospital nurses, the flight captains, and the doctors for stage 3 on the journey to recovery.
Morning, Dennis. How are you this morning?
Hi.
Feeling like going home yet?
I'm ready anytime.
How's that arm doing?
That's pretty good.
See you move that shoulder. Ready to go about 10 rounds?
Well, I don't know about 10 rounds. Maybe 5.
Maybe 5, huh? But don't be too good. We're liable to send you back over there.
Oh, I don't think I feel very good.
You don't think you'd like that?
No.
Had enough of the VCs?
Oh, for a little while, anyhow.
Raymond Hagel, upon whom a bunker fell, and who is now a paraplegic.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, ma'am.
Fine. I'm Captain Brooks. I'm one of the flight nurses that's getting today's flight ready that you're going home on. Just came by to say hi, see if you have any questions or problems, and tell you a little bit about your trip. Do you have any questions offhand?
No, ma'am. I'm ready to go.
Okay, fine. How long have you been on this frame?
A little over 2 weeks.
Okay, so then you are used to being on it and being turned on it.
Yes.
Are you able to move your arms at all so that you can feed yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Do you usually eat on your back, or do you prefer on your stomach?
Back.
On your back, okay. We will be transporting you on this frame, and we will be turning you in flight on this. Is there any particular position that you're more comfortable in?
I like to put on the back, to you and stuff.
Okay. Fine, then we can turn you, say leave you on your back for a couple of hours and then turn you onto your stomach for an hour just to get you off your back for a short while.
Where's your home?
Philadelphia.
So is mine. I'm right outside of Philadelphia. You have to say hello to Philadelphia for me.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to know what sort of bandages you have. I see a wire sticking out there.
Yes, the whole thing is wired together.
Oh. Can you move your fingers?
This one doesn't want to move.
You do quite well. Are you able to use that hand for cutting things or opening things?
No, I cannot.
Or can you eat with your left hand?
Yes, I can eat with it. Kind of clumsy, but I can eat with it.
We'll be glad to help you.
No, I'd rather do it myself.
We use a C-141A. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, I believe it's the same kind of plane I flew to Vietnam.
Yeah, you probably did. They are using it to fly troops and cargo. Well, you know that it's just a big cargo airplane.
Big box.
Right? Yeah. It's certainly not plush at all.
Anything to get me home, that's all.
Where's your home, Dennis, in the States?
It's Wisconsin, I think.
Cold part of the country.
Oh, just part of that. It's good weather. 4 seasons.
It's what?
4 seasons.
4 seasons. You like 4 seasons?
Yes.
You're anxious to get back.
Oh, I'm in a real hurry to get back.
There's someone back there waiting for you?
No, just my family.
Mother, father?
Mother, father, 5 sisters, and 2 brothers.
5 sisters?
Right.
No girlfriends?
No.
You didn't leave anyone behind, huh?
No.
You have to find someone when you get home.
Oh, a bunch of them, I hope.
A bunch of them?
Yeah.
A boy said when he first saw this ship coming to take him home, it is as if God came out of the sky. The craft is the C-141, and statistics aren't needed to tell us its size. The bookkeepers can tell us it is expensive. The pilots can boast of its cruising speed. But to the boys who have been on it, for all its magnificence and strength, it is a box. It is a wing. It is the way home. It comes in as a tightly packed warehouse, a cargo vessel. In an hour and a half, it can be unrecognizable. Its function, its character, even the way it will be flown will be radically altered. Now the flying warehouse will be transformed. Each individual flight is configured to the needs of every patient that will come aboard. In effect, each flight is a handcrafted, specially designed hospital ward. The conversion starts with the placement of the comfort pallet. This poem to modern technology makes provision for all eventualities. Seats for the ambulatory patients and for those still on litters but well enough to try to advance to an upright position before they get to their people. Oxygen inches from everyone. Individual medication a small reach away for instant administration. Coming aboard to take her post with Captains Brooks and Selger is Major Lola Ball, chief nurse of this division. Once a month, as supervisor and instructor of her wing, she travels this route. Unless there are most unusual circumstances, there is no doctor aboard, and the chief medical officer is the nurse in charge. On this flight, it is Captain Dorothy Brooks.
We have 6. There's 4 located here and 1 on each side in the rear.
How much oxygen do we have on board?
We have 60 liters plus, ma'am.
Okay. How about walk-around bottles, Sergeant McIntosh?
We have 7 walk-around bottles and...
Okay, does everybody on the crew have their masks?
Yes, ma'am, they'll be hooked up later.
Okay, fine. You'll see that they're hooked up before we take off.
Right, ma'am.
Okay. We will put the striker patient here, and the rest of it will be as is. I think if this is complete, I think we can go ahead with the loading. We will start with this patient here and just follow through. Load this side, and then we can load the ambulatory patients while we're loading here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. I'll check with Captain Salter and see if she's ready, and then we can go.
Okay.
Here, I'll give you this load plane.
All right, thank you very much.
Are you all set? You ready to load? Yes, ready to load. Okay, let's go.
Clark Tower, back 40627. Now we're approaching the run-up area. Will we be cleared on?
Back 40627. Cleared for takeoff.
Roger, 627.
Pilots are trained around the slogan, patients aren't cargo, patients aren't passengers, patients are patients. This requires a gentle skill rarely achieved by average men.
When you see a plane filled with young men who have been severely, traumatically, and suddenly injured by the effects of war, probably most of them are just from home for 6 months, a year, the first time away from home. The basic feeling really is that I'm not there. I could be, but for the grace of God. Patients are the end result of a nurse's long, particularly a flight nurse's long striving to do something for someone who really needs her, who really needs to have her help and to do something that she's been trained for all her life. And certainly in flight nursing, you use everything you've ever been trained to do. Very often you use all of this in one flight. It can be frightening to think that someone else's life is in your hands. But through training, plus the fact that there's no one else around, and all that you can do is to hope that you make the right decisions. Our patients that are take back to the United States are young boys. They were boys when they left Travis and went over. But you wouldn't dare call them a boy on the way back. I think they use us as mirrors to see how we react to them. They can see how they look in a mirror themselves, but we would be their mirror to them on a plane, how we would react to them. And if we would react violently, this is how they would get the conception, not how they themselves look to themselves.
It bothers you that these fellows are young. I don't know whether it makes any sense or not as to why they're injured. I don't think about it. I don't understand it. You can't stop and think about this. The problem is to see what you can do with them from here on in. How do you help rehabilitate them? Most of them think about what they are going to do when they get home. A lot of them think about how long it will take them to recuperate and be returned to duty. Some patients reveal their anxieties by being extremely quiet. I think some of these fellows are afraid to voice some of their anxieties because it would be maybe unmanly to do so. And you have a communication that you don't have to put into words, that just the patient and you just feel.
The closeness that a flight nurse and a patient has, perhaps, is that they're sharing a common experience. They're both alone. They're both away from home. They are supporting each other in that the patient is looking for the nurse to help them, and I think the nurse, in a great sense, is looking to the patient to give her the sense of responsibility that she has.
When I first went to Vietnam, I was a little trying to actually visualize what it was going to be like. I didn't really know. In a way, I was sort of glad to go over there. Then, yeah, I was a little scared, too.
Gently cradled now, warmed by affection and care, the men in their hospital fly from the world of war to the sweetness of home. The night is no longer the enemy's ally. Sunset brings healing sleep, reflection, remembrance.
Sometimes you dream you see someone getting hit or something that happened before and you remember it in your dreams. So I've had several dreams where Actually, I just almost relived something that happened before. This was after I was hit. Well, our platoon was selected in that morning to go out on a patrol, just a search and clear type patrol. And it was a hot, humid day, and the ground was all wet, the rice paddies were flooded. I just walked across the rice paddy dike and was walking into the water. The water was fairly deep, just about up to my knees. That I felt myself getting hit and then heard the explosion. And then I was thrown to the ground during the explosion. I heard people yelling for the medic. Some of the other guys ran over and pulled me up out of the water and got me back to the dike where it was dry. The medic was there by that time bandaging me up, and there was somebody yelling that you'd need a helicopter to get me out of there.
Got 3 children. Got 2 boys, Kenneth and Brian. 7 and 8, the little girl, Sheila. Last time I saw him was a year ago, December. Well, shouldn't be too long. One hospital close to home, so shouldn't be too long. Wonder how you're gonna make a living. If you ever get off of the stretcher, how long it's gonna take. Things like that. And I've been thinking, but haven't come up with any answers yet. The main thing is to try to get off this frame here. Get him halfway back in shape. What do you think about a lot of things? What you've done in your life, what you're gonna do. Think about home. About everything, I guess. Try to pass the time.
It's impossible not to become attached to any patient, whether you're with him for 5 minutes or many days. Nursing, I think, has compassion that most people do not understand. Nursing is a way of life. It's, as a soldier would be a soldier, nursing is a way of life for nurses. Leaving nursing or getting out of nursing could be compared with suddenly missing or not having a limb. It would be like taking part of you away.
On glide path. Heading 353. On course, on glide path. Over approach lights. Heading 353. On course, on glide path. Over end of runway.
Thank you very much, GCS. Very good run.
27, roger. Continue taxiing straight ahead. Turn left at the next blue lighted intersection. Follow me. We'll assist in parking.
Do you remember them? You don't always remember every face and every name, but you do remember specific ones. You remember conversations, looks.
Leaving a patient or having him leave you is sort of like leaving part of your family.
At 826 Forest Street, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, as in many corners of the land, a family nervously awaits the return of a young man. The boy need not be a hero. He need not be a prodigal son. He need only to have done his job. He need only return safely, for every surviving soldier is a hero.
Hi, you big lug.